Hi, okay, so I'm doing a tutorial for glass. I know this one has been asked for a few times and I haven't really had a chance to do it, so now I'm going to cover that hopefully in the best way I possibly can. So, just a quick thing, actually let me just sort of restart this a little bit. Okay, so essentially I've created a window frame, and what would be classed as an interior. Now, for the sake of this, I've created two light sources, and I'm going to explain why later. It's a very quick way. It's a very quick tutorial on how to make glass for your renders or your video game. Now, I've applied this material. All I need to do is go to diffuse, and now this is obviously dependable on you, but for the sake of this, I did make a texture that just says glass. Okay. Um, Now, one thing, when you're using flat objects in 3ds Max, if you're going to be looking at both sides, just make sure you hit that two-sided option, because if you don't, if you hit the render, which is F9, you can't see anything. So if you hit two-sided, hit F9, your object will show up. It does show up from the other side no matter what, it's always got one side that it tries not to show by default. Anyway, so, first thing to take note of is this opacity button. Okay, now at the minute it's at 100, which means it's 100%, you can see it. Now if I start turning that down, you can see that it goes slightly transparent, which is quite useful, it's quite handy to start off with. The only problem with this is that, as you can see, the word glass also goes see-through with the glass material itself. Now, say you had a poster on there or a sticker or something else that you wanted to show 100%, but you wanted the background taken out. Now, to control this very easily, I'll pull the JPEGs up as well just to give an explanation. Basically, I've created a texture where the text I've made completely white, and the background is black. Now by default, 3ds Max deletes out the black material when it's used in a opacity map. Okay, so now if I hit render, you can see the text perfectly, but you can also see through. Now, if you use 100% black, it will just completely disappear the geometry behind, which you might not always want. So in the case of this, you can't affect the opacity, it won't affect the actual thing itself. Okay, so if you want to show the background a little bit, now this is the texture that I use to create that opacity. All I would say is if you select the black background, okay, and instead of making it black, maybe go sort of in between white and black, go for grey. Yeah, make it about that. If I save that, I'm just going to save over mine for the sake of it, but I'd recommend you make a duplicate when you do this. Yeah. Go back to my 3ds Max. Now, what you should see is if I render it. I wonder if it's because I ain't got a specular. Let me just add a specular. Problem with glass is that it sometimes requires light to, there we go, to sort of show it off a little bit more. So yeah, so what I just did there, sorry, I wasn't going to touch spec, but never mind. Basically, a specular map uses, again, white, grey, black colours to determine how much light reflects off of the object and where it reflects off of the object. So all I've done is basically just used the opacity map because it functions near enough the same way. It's not perfect, but you know, it's for demonstration. So yeah, so that basically covers it, I think. The only thing I will say is that although yes, you can see it looks like glass, you can see the object inside. If I was to take away this light, okay, and then render it, it's not actually that bad. I was expecting worse results. Let's flip it round then. Let's delete the one that's on the outside. Okay, now this is where it might change. If I render that, yeah, the light doesn't actually come through the window the opposite way. Okay, it does from this side. If I do it this side, it should light up just the same as the other side. But basically, opacity materials don't allow light to go through it without fiddling around with some light settings. okay? But that is something for you to research, because it's quite a long-winded process as it is. I may make a tutorial on it in the future, but hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully I've explained myself to some extent correctly. But that's basically how you make glass for a render. Okay, thank you.